All right, we're here with Coach Denise Van De Walle. Coach, this is not to break you into tears or anything, but this is your first practice day. How's the team look out there? What are you seeing out of your team today?
Well, I'll tell you what, I was really pleasantly surprised. First off, with the fitness test this morning, we did an outstanding job. And then to come in right after that and go to our first session, we have tradition to where we just go through a few drills and then we scrimmage right away. And it was a very intense, high-level scrimmage. They weren't as rusty looking as we've been in the past, so I was really, really excited. And then this afternoon was a long one, 2 to 5. And we looked pretty good. I mean, sure, we're going through some fundamentals and you know, recovering some things like you do on every first day, but I am pleasantly surprised at how they looked.
I'm sure there's some things you come into practices leading up into the season with some things you're looking at your team and saying, okay, here's where we want to improve, here's some things we need to get a little bit better at than we were a year ago. When I look at the stats, you know, I see stats that looked pretty equal to what our opponents were last year, except in that unforced errors stat line. Do you feel like that's an area where you guys need to improve, or are there some other areas?
Well, you know, it's funny you should say that, because even today when we were doing that scrimmage, one of the areas that I thought we didn't do as well in, and it happens, is serving. We had so many service errors today. Part of that is because they're really trying to go for it, and when you go for the ace, you're going to make a lot more errors. And then that was probably the biggest area where we had the most errors today. But one of the skills that I know we need to put a lot of emphasis on, again, is blocking. I thought we were just an average blocking team at best last year. So we've really, you know, we've got decent size. We're not the tallest team in the conference, but we definitely need to work on our blocking.
We're sitting here in this beautiful new building, the Stroh Center. Does your practices change at all with the new surroundings, or do you guys do anything different now that you got, you know, kind of 2 courts, you got the ability to do some different things, or do you have basically the same practices, but it's just a lot nicer surroundings?
Well, it certainly is a lot nicer surroundings, and I am going to be so excited to welcome, you know, the opponents that come in here and kind of show off the Stroh Center, because it is awesome. The practices really don't change. Where it is a little bit different is this is a much different looking ceiling and just different surroundings, so we have to get used to that. If you'll notice on the court today, we're playing side by side, not the real game-like situation, but that's because during preseason we always use 2 nets for a while. The practice gym is fantastic because we don't have to shag balls very far, so it can be run very fast, very efficiently. So that's what I love about that small gym. The other thing about it is it's extremely loud, so it's high energy all the time in there. Yeah,
absolutely. You know, leading into this year, there's some pretty fun matches. I know that we're going to have the first match of the year, first home match of the year, I should say, against Michigan State on September 9th. Final home match of the year, November 12th against Northern Illinois. I'm putting you a little bit on the spot here. Is there a match that you're looking forward to the most, or a tournament maybe, or something like that you're looking forward to this year?
Well, it's always the first. Yeah. You know, when we get on that bus, there's just, you know, I'm going to be saying that same thing. This is going to be the, you know, the beginning of the end, so to speak, for me, that first trip of my last season. But going to Annapolis, I think, is going to be very special. Never been there, never, you know, been to Navy. The team is pretty excited about getting to play 2 schools like Air Force and Navy in the same. It's kind of rare that you would get that opportunity. And I think it's going to be a tournament for us to go in and really stack up and you know, just stack ourselves up against the opponents. So that one, the first one's always big to me, just to see how we're going to do to start the year. But then, of course, that home opener here, you know, when we're actually playing Michigan State here in front of our fans, and to see this arena packed, and just all the electricity, all the emotion that's going to be in this gym that night, I'm really looking forward to seeing that. I mean, Michigan State's going to be a tough opponent. There's no doubt about it. They're a great team. very well coached. They're big, strong. I remember them vividly from last year when we went up there and played them. But I'm looking forward to that tournament. And just the tournament itself, playing SIUE and Canisius that whole weekend as well.
Absolutely. We'll have some time here before the season starts to talk a little bit more in depth about personnel and some of that kind of stuff. But, this past weekend, you and I talked about Madison Nita and being able to play on the USA Deaf team and, winning a big tournament in Washington, D.C. Just wanted to hear maybe some of your thoughts on Madison, because she's not somebody who gets a lot of press and publicity around here, but we can see, the impact that BG players can make all over the place.
Oh, yeah, and I'll tell you, what it reminds me of right away is my involvement with the USA sitting team when I was coaching with them. There's something so special about international competition, and so when she had a chance to try out, I really encouraged her to go for it, because I know my experiences are ones that I will never, ever forget with the sitting team and all the travel that I did with them. And when she made the team, I was ecstatic, and I knew what her summer was going to entail. And when she talked to me and told me, when I actually saw it on Facebook that they won the gold, because it got posted right away, I was so excited, called her. She was ecstatic. They were getting ready for the closing ceremonies, and it just brought back a lot of feelings of the sitting team and just how much fun that is when you're playing someone from another country. And for her to be on the deaf team when she can hear with hearing aid, and she speaks, to be with kids that are different from her, I know it was challenging, and I know she had a great time, and it only makes her a better player. I can tell from how she played today that experience of her playing for the last week with the deaf team, boy, it took all the rust off. She looked really good today.
Well, great. That's great to hear. We'll talk to you some more before the season gets underway, and we're looking forward to that September 9th match for sure. So,
me too.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much, Coach.
Thanks, Jason.